So, Don Brothers episode 37. This episode introduced Sonoshi, one of the higher-ups in the Cerebians and the overseer of the main trio we've been following since the show began. And Sonoshi is quite the interesting character. His personality is very flamboyant, very unpredictable, but when seeing the character on screen, I did have a lot of fun with how they perform in their performance. I feel like they're so weird and wacky that I'm glad that this character is staying around for the nearby future. And seeing where he is and where the other Cerebians is, I feel like that Sonoshi is probably going to be one of the many final bosses we'll get in this show moving forward. Maybe he'll turn good eventually, but seeing where he stands with our heroes and with the trio of Cerebians, I feel like this guy is going to be nothing but trouble moving forward. But I gotta say, like I mentioned earlier, seeing him on screen was a lot of fun with how he acted and how he played his little ocarina. That was a lot of fun. So, the whole premise of this episode is Sonoshi showing up and sort of seeming like that he's shaking the foundation of the Cerebians with him being in charge. And he's caught on to the other three being friends with the Don brothers, because you see him spying on everyone in the episode. And he confronts them in the episode saying, hey, why are you doing this? You've been sort of getting very chummy with him, especially you, Sonoi, where you killed Momotaro and he helped bring him back. And I like how he points out to Sonoza being the problem child. That got a laugh out of me, but how he sort of conducts himself around the others, you can see that the others don't really fear him. They don't like him because even though he's one of the same race, they just don't like the dude. So in this episode, you've got Sonoshi confronting the Cerebians saying, hey, I don't like that you guys are getting really chummy with the Don brothers, so you guys are going to take him out once and for all, and if you don't, I'll report this to the council and you'll be forced to scrub floors for all eternity. So the Cerebians don't want to do that, so they're like, hey, we better listen to him. And there's this scene where you have Sonoshi where he's sort of spraying everyone with a fire, like a extinguisher, where he's cleansing everything. And there is a really funny scene where he comes into Kaito's calf and he sprays it. And then Kaito comes out when he leaves and he's like, why did it snow in here? That got a laugh out of me. That did get a laugh out of me. But because Sonoshi wants the Don brothers and the Cerebians to fight, the two work together. The two different teams work together. And what their plan is to create a Hitsuki, a monster of the week, and he can turn into them. We learned that Cerebians can turn into them, but the method is a bit extreme. And who they grab is the fucking ninja dude that apparently died, but he's not dead. They even address it in the episode where Sononi says, I thought this guy died, and no one says anything. No one addresses him being alive again. No one says anything. They just grab him, they use him as bait, and they just move on with the episode. But there's also another interesting note in this episode, and that is the ending. Oh god, the ending is so creepy and weird. Freaking Kiji brother with his weird mental breakdown going crazy. That is something. That is just probably going to get more unhinged as we get closer to the finale, but I'll talk about that later. So, we have the two teams fight, and we get to see the trio of Cerebians do a roll call, and while they're fighting, you've got Sonoshi watching them, and how the Don brothers and how the Cerebians come up with a plan is pretty freaking clever, I will say that. So, they have a fight, and during the fight, it seems like Momotaro has died, when Momotaro just falls down and it's like, oh no, I'm dead. And then you find out, once you find out how Momotaro dies, because it's very obvious that he's faking it, but once you find out how he died, I say died with quotation marks, what they did is they got Momotaro to lie, and that way he can sort of fake his death to Sonoshi so they can turn him into a monster of the week and defeat him that way. But he doesn't get fully defeated as he sort of comes back to normal and holds a grudge against our heroes and our anti-heroes. But throughout this episode, it did have a lot of funny gags, such as you had Saru brothers simping over Sanoni, where when he finds out that Taro and Haruka are working with the others, he's like, oh, maybe I should try and swoon Sanoni over, because he has no idea, well, no one has any idea that Sanoni has a thing for Inubrava, for Inuzuka, so he's trying to give her cake and she just shoves it in her face. There's the scene where Haruka's mopping the floors and Sono's like, give that here, and Haruka's like, oh, you're gonna show me how to clean better, and what he does is he just grabs the guitar. No, he doesn't. He grabs the mop and starts playing it like an air guitar, which got a laugh out of me because that's all he did for a split second. He pretended it was an air guitar and then handed the mop back to her. That got a laugh out of me. And then you also had the Don brothers trying to do their roll call, and then Jiro shows up, and even though it's not a full 6 roll call, Jiro shows up and he's like, oh, I want to be a part of this roll call, so he sort of enters last minute, and he does it twice because, you know, Don Torbolt takes over, so that was a lot of fun. But I gotta talk about the ending. So in this episode, Kijino says that Miho has finally come home, and you don't really think much of it. You're thinking, oh, Miho came back, maybe we'll get a cutaway to Miho and Kijino back together. But no, that's not the case. When you get to the end of the episode, the last thing you see is Kijino stumbling in. He sits down on the bed or on the couch and he's talking to this weird porcelain doll, and he's calling it his wife, and he's sort of tickling it and sort of patting it. It's really weird and creepy. He's like talking all cutesy to it, and then it just plays that cheerful next time episode preview. But yeah, that's an ending as we see sort of Kijino descending into madness as the show goes on. But next week is a Inubrava focused episode with his cooking abilities, so hopefully we'll get some more Kijino and Inubrava interactions with the two, with their rivalry there, and hopefully we can get that full 6 Ranger roll call, you never know. But yeah, this episode was really interesting. Having Sonoshi enter the game is definitely an interesting game changer because you don't know what this character is going to do moving forward, if he's going to stick around for long, but I get the feeling this character is definitely going to stick around moving forward into the finale, leading up to the endgame arc, because I believe Don Brothers only has like maybe 13 episodes left to go, and then it's done. Like, I feel like it's going to end at episode 50 or something like that, but yeah, Don Brothers episode 37. This episode was a lot of fun, and as I usually say, I can't wait to see where the show is going to go next. So with that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this review of Don Brothers, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.
Thank you.